Isn't it time you got your home sold? So this is a story of a lovely family, the Longs, and they had their house listed for 12 months. And well, they bought their house in 2006, but after some hard times, they had to sell it. So they were listed for 12 months, and they had not sold their house yet. However, you know what? They relisted. They relisted with us and with Patty and Paul, and now their home is sold. They've been sold, and they had to short sell the property, unfortunately, because as I said, they bought in 2006. So now, well, they are just owed still a little bit more than what the house is worth. However, now that they're sold, they are go ahead and getting their credit reestablished, and they know that they have a plan of action, and they know they're gonna give it another try, buy another house, possibly in 2 years, as soon as 2 years it could be, between 2 and 5. But the most important thing for the Longs is that they have peace, and they feel good where they're at. They know where they're going. They don't feel overburdened with a house that they can't afford, and that's the most important thing, to take that step and take that action. So I know today we're talking to you, you who have a property, who is a expired listing, and most expired listings right now they're short selling the property. So we'll talk today about the 7 mistakes sellers make when short selling their home. Home sellers are finding out that short selling a home is a complicated process, and if it's not handled correctly, well, they can have they can lose their home to foreclosure proceedings, and that's the worst possible outcome you could have. So the short sale mistake number one: the price is house. The house is price drawing, and well, this reminds me of the story of Goldilocks and the three bears. Short sale prices are kind of like that. Some of them are just priced too high, some of them are just priced too low, and some of them are just priced right. And when you're selling a home, it needs to be priced correctly, and it has to be attractive to at least 5 different type of people. And the first one, has to be priced right to is the short sale bank. They have to pro the price, obviously. Then the buyer, the buyer's agent, the seller, and the buyer's lender. So sometimes it's hard to make everybody happy, but you know what? It is possible. Short sale mistake number two is going to be that it's an inexperienced listing agent. And if a property's been on the market for more than 90 days without an offer, well, you know what? Something is seriously wrong. And in falling markets, inexperienced agents are attracted to short sales like moths to a flame. And you have to be careful for that. If you're dealing with somebody, an agent, they should have at least 2 years of experience negotiating with short sale banks. And short sale mistake number three is just plain bad marketing. Some agents believe that pricing alone is what will sell a house. However, they persuade the sellers, to put a very low price on their home, and then they refuse to adequately market their home in hopes that they're gonna sell it themselves. Because when they sell themselves, they usually get a double commission, right? But not only does the price need to be reasonable, but the home must receive the same type of treatment as any other listing. So price is not the only thing, and property should be exposed to the widest possible pool of buyers. Short sale mistake number four is going to be showing restrictions. And buyers agents, bless their hearts, sometimes they just, they'll take the path of least resistance. And if the listing requires, for the appointment to be made, the buyer's agent, and like I think most of us probably would want to just show a property that doesn't have those restrictions and just go to the one that's ready to be showed. So if an appointment is required to show the home, they just probably will pass it over for another one that doesn't have that requirement. And the seller, they should always be ready to show. If the agent calls and they ask, hey, can I sell the property? The seller's reaction, you or the seller have to say, hey, come on over, I'm ready to go. And short sale mistake number 5 are no photographs on the MLS on the internet. And when there's few photos or no photos at all, it's just pretty much like slamming a door in the face of the buyer. A listing without photos or not enough photos, it's pretty much a clear signal that to the buyers that something could possibly be wrong, and that's how they'll interpret it. So on the MLS submissions, make sure you put plenty of pictures, because I know for myself, I have the ability to put, I think, was it 53 photos, and that's quite a bit. And some websites also will with multiple photos, they rank higher those listings. For example, Realtor.com. So your listing has the most photos you can have is going to rank higher than something that has one or possibly none. And short sale mistake number 6 is going to be poor property condition. And the property, with property home staging, it's going to benefit greatly for that. You got to keep your house clean and organized. And if the buyer just, if they see a messy house, they may feel uncomfortable, buying that house, thinking that, hey, if it's messy right now, what is the owner going to do when I leave? Are they going to trash the place? That's a valid concern for them. Short sale mistake number 7 is going to be uncooperative sellers. And when you're dealing with a short sales, you have to have all the documentation in a timely manner. And when you're applying for a short sale, it's not just saying, hey, I want to sell my house. Well, you need to ask for permission from the bank. They need to accept that short sale. So if a package is sent to the bank and it's incomplete, doesn't have all the personal history, or a hardship letter from the seller, well, you know what? That short sale is just not going to be processed. So today, I urge you to act at once, saying, contact us today, and I promise you that we'll have a worthwhile conversation to discuss all your options, which could be deed in lieu foreclosure, which is simply giving the keys back to the bank and saying, hey, here you go. Hey, if you maybe want to keep your house, modification or forbearance could be an option for you. Or if you don't qualify for any of those, then you may short sell it, and in some cases you may actually qualify for a lease option. So there's options here for you. The thing is, you need to take that action. Take that action. Don't be afraid. You've waited long enough for results, so contact us this weekend. Let's schedule an appointment. And if you'd like to get to know us better, call us. Call Patty at 323-944-8204. Email her at patty@themortgagespin.com. Call me, Paul Kelly, at 323-952-1949, or email me at paul@themortgagespin.com. Or feel free to get to know us at our blogs, themortgagespin.com, and in Spanish, casaricacorazoncontento.com. Thank you very much.